What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite fan analyst, Sutton Def, here back from the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. I'm going to get into some talk today about Odell Beckham Jr. He was just waived by the Dolphins this morning, and the Ravens fan base is in a complete divide right now on wanting to bring him back on one side and the other end saying, no, absolutely not. We don't need him. Let's find out which side I'm on, and I want to know which side you're on. So make sure you stick around, comment down below. If you're in the live chat, comment in the live chat. This is the Purple Rain Podcast. Yo. So like I said, this is your boy Sutton Def from the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Sutton Def, like you see down below right here. You can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. And shout out to my co-host, Simply AS10. And then also, of course, Manscaped is our sponsor. As you guys know, you can go on manscaped.com. The holidays are not even right around the corner. They are officially here. Right. So if you want to go on Manscaped, you still have some time. You can save 20% off plus free shipping if you use our code PRP. Okay. Seeing you guys go ahead and trickle in here. I want to get you guys' opinions on this one because I've been kind of back and forth all morning long, quite frankly. And I really want to get the opinions of the Rain Gang in here. So whether you're watching on YouTube right now, shout out to you. Whether you're watching on X right now, shout out to you. Or whether you're watching on Instagram right now, shout out to you. This is the Purple Rain Podcast. Again, my name is Sutton Def. So again, news came out this morning that the Miami Dolphins were parting ways with Odell Beckham Jr., wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr., who was formerly with the Ravens last season. And, you know, he had a decent season, right? I mean, it wasn't anything to really write home about, if I'm being honest with you. Last year, 14 games with the Ravens, he caught 35 passes for 565 yards and 3 touchdowns. Averaged a career high 16.1 yards per reception as well, which is pretty good. I'm not going to lie. But again, didn't really make a huge impact on this Ravens team. And I think that's where we should start. Where should we start? I think we should start there. Why did Odell Beckham Jr. not make a larger impact on the Baltimore Ravens in 2023? I would argue it's because, number one, Odell Beckham Jr., he is an older receiver at this point. He is 32. Last year, he was 31 when he was with us. He doesn't have the same juice. I know we've all still kind of fell in love with, we're still in love with the catch from so many years ago. I think at this point it's like a decade ago. But he's just not the same guy. Odell Beckham Jr. is largely a name now, but that's besides the point. I'll get to that. What I really think the reason why he did not get as much production in Baltimore last year as he should have, or as he could have, is because the Ravens are simply a run first team. Right? In 14 games with the Baltimore Ravens, Odell Beckham Jr. played 50% of the offensive snaps, right down the middle, half and half. Half the time he was on the field, half the time he was not on the field. And I think there's reasons for that. You know, this Ravens offense just simply wants to go in another direction than, you know, force feeding wide receivers just because we have them. Okay. Like, I'm sorry, we're not the 2021 Bills. We're not, you know, the Rams, and we're not one of those teams, right? We're run first. And I think that's a big reason why Odell Beckham Jr. did not have a bigger impact last season. Let me see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Deshaun says, what's up, brother? What's going on, Deshaun? Appreciate you for coming through. Chike says, no, I do not want OBJ. We already have wide receivers that are crying. They ain't getting the ball themselves. This is another thing. And by the way, full disclaimer, I am not on the train of let's get OBJ back in Baltimore. I'm not. Actually, I'm against it. Do not bring Odell Beckham Jr. back to Baltimore. And I'm not saying that because I don't like the guy. I'm not saying that because I don't like what he did for us last season. I don't think he did enough. Nothing like that. I'm just saying at this specific time, we have a lot bigger fish to fry than bringing in another wide receiver 3. And some people on Twitter are bringing up Nelson Aguilar and, you know, how he's dropping passes left and right and whatnot. And there's a stigma around Nelson Aguilar going back to his Philly days that he you know, he's got a case of the dropsies. It just is what it is. And John Harbaugh and this offense continues to trot, offensive coaching staff rather, continues to trot him out on the field. And Ravens fans aren't happy about it. And I think that's what's really leading to, in combination with Deontay Johnson, you know, acting up or whatever and getting suspended, they want to bring, and when I say they, I mean some Ravens fans want to bring Odell Beckham Jr. back here for those reasons, right? Deontay Johnson is not working out. And yeah, let me see. Denise says, Sutton, what's going on, Denise? Don Royal in the house says, I'll take him over Aguilar. That's what people are saying. Denise says, no, sir, no Odell. I agree. Shamil Malik in the house says, what's up, my guy? What's going on, Shamil? Appreciate you for coming through. Let me see. SG says, yes, would be a nice veteran presence and someone who can easily fit into the system, assuming they release Deontay. But see, here's the thing. I don't know if they're going to release Deontay Johnson. I don't. Because according to Harbaugh earlier this week, when he was asked about Deontay Johnson, he was saying that guys want to work. Guys are working hard. Guys are doing this. Guys are doing that. Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman said that the situation with Deontay Johnson, quite frankly, was not a situation to begin with. Right? They're all good. Nobody's got any ill will towards him. Everything's all peachy keen. So we might see Deontay Johnson back in the offensive rotation soon. So I don't think they're going to release him. SG. I don't think that they're going to release him. I think that if they wanted to, they probably already would have. But I don't think they're going to release him. Now, the whole veteran presence thing, I do understand that angle, right? Especially considering Odell Beckham Jr., he would be cheap. He would only cost about $200K for the Ravens to have him come over to Baltimore and finish out the season. And we know that the vibes that Odell Beckham Jr. brings to a locker room can, for lack of better words, turn a team up. Right? It can. I do believe that. But here's the thing. I don't think that's what the Ravens need right now. The Ravens have no excuses this season, right? No excuses. We're fully healthy. Lamar Jackson is playing at MVP level again, right? We have some of the best passing numbers in the National Football League right now. The Ravens have some of the best passing numbers in the National Football League right now. Yet, here we are trying to bring back Odell Beckham Jr. I just don't understand that. I'm not an advocate for bringing back Odell Beckham Jr. because I just don't believe that what he's able to bring to the team for the rest of this season is going to be conducive to the Ravens winning a championship. I think a lot of Ravens fans have honestly lost the plot. I think we've lost the plot just a little bit. And here's what I mean by that. I think that we have kind of forgotten what happened last season in the AFC Championship game. You guys remember what happened? Because I do. I remember the Ravens only running the ball 6 times. With their running backs, that is, 6 times in that game. And the entire Ravens fan base, including myself, tore John Harbaugh, Todd Monken, and this coaching staff apart for that. Tore them apart. Because late in that game, we were trying to come back and, we're throwing the ball all over the place. And Lamar ended up making a few mistakes and the rest is history, right? And so what happened a couple of months later? The Ravens went out and they traded for Derrick Henry. They got Derrick Henry. And why did they get Derrick Henry? Because they heard the noise and they knew they needed some more firepower at running back, which, by the way, is a premium position for this team. Always has been a premium position. Outside of defense, when you're talking about offense, your running back is very important in Baltimore. Very, very important. We brought in the king, someone who's been breaking records for years, is still breaking records, and I think where Ravens fans are kind of losing the plot is, we need to bring in as many wide receivers as we can in order to contend in the playoffs. Last year, we didn't lose because we weren't throwing the football. We lost because we weren't running the football in the postseason, right? That's what happened. That's what happened in the AFC Championship game. The Ravens had no confidence giving the ball to Gus Edwards and Justice Hill. 6 carries combined. 6 carries combined. Do you really, really think that the Ravens coaching staff going into this playoffs, assuming we make the playoffs, right? Do you really, really think that they're going to be prioritizing throwing the ball all over the football field? Or are they going to keep the plot in mind and say, hey, the whole reason we brought in Derrick Henry is so when we get back to this moment, when we get back to this point in the playoffs, we're going to feed that guy. We're going to feed him. 15, 20 carries a game. Easy. Minimum. We're going to feed him. And like I said before, last season, Odell only played 50% of the snaps. So you want him to come in, play 50% of the snaps, and still produce, knowing damn well the game plan is to give the football to Derrick Henry and lean on these teams in the playoffs. That's the game plan. That's the plot. I feel like a lot of Ravens fans have lost the plot. That's just me. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Let me see what you guys are saying here. Jen says he thinks he goes to Houston. Interesting. That'd be interesting. He's going to go to a playoff contender. That's for sure. That's for sure. Let me see. Killer Cam, what's going on? Cam says Nelly should be at most a 4 now. Look, man, we can say what we want about Nelson Aguilar, but this is a guy who has shown veteran leadership as well. And he always shows up to work. You can tell he works hard. You can tell he practices hard. You can tell this coaching staff loves them some Nelson Aguilar. So they're going to take the good with the bad when it comes to him. Now, do I prefer Nelson Aguilar dropping passes on third down? No, I don't. Do I also think some of the passes that Nelson Aguilar has dropped have been really, really tough balls to go ahead and haul in? Yes, I do think that as well. And again, I'm not trying to cape for Nelson Aguilar because I do think that Odell Beckham Jr. is better than Nelson Aguilar. I do think that Deontay Johnson is better than Nelson Aguilar, and he should be getting more snaps over him to begin with. But again, man, I just don't see how Odell Beckham Jr. really moves the needle. I think that's the question that we have to ask ourselves. How does OBJ move the needle for the Ravens in 2024? Because I just don't see how he does. Especially assuming, right, the whole plan for this year was to bring in Derrick Henry. So when we get back to the playoffs, we have no shadow of a doubt who we're giving the football to. Who's going to be our workhorse? No shadow of a doubt. And not to mention, Derrick Henry is healthy. I could see if Derrick Henry, was banged up or something like that. We lost him a few weeks ago, whatever. Derrick Henry is healthy. This running game is going to be a pivotal, I repeat, pivotal part of this Ravens team going down the stretch of this season. Just is what it is, man. Let me see what y'all are saying. Shamil says, I saw our guy Simply post a little highlight reel on Twitter of OBJ asking if we should bring him back. Yeah, Simply's a big OBJ fan. He's a big OBJ guy. Always has been. Love my guy Simply, but me and him, we would be disagreeing right now if he was on the stream right now. I'm just not a big fan of bringing in a 32-year-old wide receiver who I can't even really say he's been I-word prone because he's been relatively healthy. I think he did get a little bit banged up earlier this year. Don't fact check me on that. Somebody let me know down below in the comments. But yeah, I would agree, I would disagree rather with Simply AS10 on that one. Let me see. Shamil also says it's not worth the roster spot. Let me see. Denise says I want to see Rashad Bateman shine along with our wide receivers. I mean, I agree with that too. With guys like Rashad Bateman stepping up this season, having the best season of his career, with guys like Zay Flowers taking another step forward in his second year, right? I mean, where is the room? Where is the room, right? This is going to be a run-first team. So when we're not running the football and we're passing the football, there's other guys who we've been game planning and scheming for all season, and it has been working. Has it been perfect? No. But it has been working with Zay Flowers. It has been working with Rashad Bateman better than it ever has before, right? It's now working with Mark Andrews again. And you see the type of trust Lamar Jackson has in Mark Andrews. Again, guys, I'm not trying to say that I don't like Odell Beckham Jr. as a person. I don't like him as a player. I simply do not believe that the Ravens need him right now. I simply do not believe that OBJ swings the pendulum. I don't think he moves the needle for the 2024 Baltimore Ravens. That's just me. Tyler Brown says, if it ain't a tall, big body wide receiver, I don't want to talk about receiver, to be honest. Who's that receiver from Arizona again? Tatua, I can't even remember. I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but last name McMillan. He looks nice. Let me see what else y'all are saying. Osman says, why is this even a question? Well, what do you think, Osman? Because obviously the fan base is divided on this one. Chicken Box was going on. Chicken Box says he will go to Seattle. Okay. Another playoff contending team. He's going to go somewhere. I do know that. A healthy Odell is going to go somewhere to a playoff contender. Everybody still remembers what he did with the Los Angeles Rams in the playoffs, right? Got hurt in the Super Bowl, obviously, after scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl. Everybody wants that back. Every championship contender would not mind having that on their roster. I just don't think it's for us. I just don't think we experimented with it, right? We went through a whole season with Odell Beckham Jr. and it went well. It went relatively well, but it just did not move the needle in the way that, we thought it might. And this year, going down the stretch of the season and into the playoffs, I just don't think that bringing him in would move the needle enough to justify the purchase, even though it would be a very cheap purchase. I get that. But again, you're just kind of throwing, there's only one football to go around. There's only one football to go around. And with other guys producing this season, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews stepping up now, about to break the touchdown record. I think those guys deserve it. To be honest. That's where I'm at. Mod Roosh in the building. What's going on, Roosh? Yes, sir. Make sure you like the video if you're watching over on YouTube right now. If you're watching on X or Instagram, maybe pop over to YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. We would greatly appreciate that. Let me see. Eli, the sports guy, says, at this point, I would take OBJ over Deontay Johnson, but oh well. I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, I would probably stick with Deontay Johnson in that scenario if I had to pick between the two. But mainly because, I mean, I'm a little bit biased because Deontay Johnson is already currently a Raven. And I think that Deontay Johnson should have been incorporated more into this offense when we brought him in. Because by now, Deontay Johnson should be hitting his stride with the Ravens. He should be hitting his stride of chemistry with Lamar Jackson. But we kind of ruined that. We soiled it. Soiled it is what we did. So I was on record saying when we first acquired Deontay Johnson, why are we doing this? Why? There's so many other needs before the trade deadline. O-line, you know what I mean? The back end, we were looking at DBs we were thin at the time. It's just, I didn't understand it. I did not understand it. But now we got him. You bring in a personality guy halfway through the season, expect him to fully buy in. He hasn't. Make it work, Ravens. Make it work. That's where I'm at. Scroll down a little bit more here. Osmond says, how much could we expect him to contribute? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. How much would they really expect Odell Beckham Jr. to contribute? Like I said, played 50% of the snaps last season, had 3 touchdowns, 35 catches for 565 yards. Not bad numbers for, somebody who you're looking to be like your wide receiver 3. Some people even thought Odell would be wide receiver 2 for the Ravens last season. Yeah. Yeah. Hit the like, people. Like Denise says here, hit the like. Let's go. Let's make it happen. Appreciate all y'all for coming through to this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. Kind of impromptu, but I had to hop on here, talk about Odell because, he's a big name. And that's the only reason why we're talking about it right now. Because he's a big name. Odell Beckham Jr. is a huge name. Always has been, right? He's a huge star. I think he's probably the most famous of all NFL players right now. Maybe outside of like Patrick Mahomes but it's debatable. Odell's still up there, right? He's still kind of like a household name. And, I don't know if certain Ravens fans believe that they have this extra layer of security in their brain just knowing Odell Beckham Jr. is out there running routes for the Ravens, but I don't. I just don't. And again, not to say I don't like the guy. That's not it. That ain't it at all. But I just don't think that the Ravens needle would be moved in either which direction bringing in an Odell Beckham Jr. I just don't. So that's me. I am going to leave it there, peeps. I don't want to stay on here too long. I want to do about 20 minutes, just kind of get in, get out, let you guys know my takes on this. I see how you guys are kind of feeling about it as well. I appreciate the opinions. Let me see, just to end it. Shamil Malik says, knowing our luck, we bring in OBJ and Deontay ends up punching him in practice. Earl Thomas, Chuck Clark all over again. Oh my gosh. That would be insane. Let's see. And to end it with this, Cam the Baptist, he hits the nail on the head. DJ could produce those numbers easily if he's given the opportunities. We have enough mouths to feed. And that's really what it is. That's really all it is, right? Cam hit the nail on the head. We have enough mouths to feed as is. Period. So there's only one football to go around. We want to run the ball first as is. We've got guys and receivers who've been stepping up all season long. Why take opportunity away from them at this point? That's all I'm saying. But yeah, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Shout out to each and every one of you beautiful faces coming out to this live stream. If you're following me on Instagram or Twitter, or if you want to follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you can go to Sutton Def, like you see right down below there. And yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. As my guy Alex would always say, stay positive, test negative, and never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. It's been another episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. We're going to catch you guys in the next one.